Freedom of speech is protected under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. It is a right that was so important that it was placed in the First Amendment. Also known as freedom of expression, freedom of speech is the right to articulate opinions and ideas without fear of retaliation, censorship, or legal sanction from the government. The term speech is interpreted broadly, including spoken and written words, as well as symbolic speech, like what a person wears, reads, performs, or protests. While protected, this freedom is not absolute. There are exceptions, such as speech that incites violence, constitutes a true threat, is defamatory, or is obscene. Freedom of speech is considered a fundamental right essential for a functioning democracy and the ability to engage in open dialogue and debate. This is considered to be so important that the right to freedom of expression is also recognized as a human right in international law. As subversive as what I'm about to say might sound, protest plays an important role within the functioning democracy. History and geopolitics show this to be true. Oftentimes, people holding office are unwilling to work to make the necessary historic changes that their constituents protesting sends a message that a large population feels unheard. Albie Sachs said, "All revolutions are impossible until they happen. Then they become inevitable." The American Revolution began as a protest, one where the rulers didn't listen to American colonists, responded to the Sugar Act and Currency Act with protests. In Massachusetts, participants in a town meeting cried out against taxation without proper representation in Parliament and suggested some form of united protest throughout the colonies. In response to protests, the British government created and began to enforce the Intolerable Acts, also known as the Coercive Acts, which were four laws passed by the British Parliament in 1774 to punish the Massachusetts colony for the Boston Tea Party, and included the Boston Port Act, Massachusetts Government Act, Administration of Justice Act, and the Quartering Act. Protesting has been woven into the very fabric of this country since the very beginning. It was the kindling that allowed the spark of revolution to grow and led the sweeping changes in the American identity. On March 3, 1913, the first organized political march in Washington, D.C. was planned by women fighting for the right to vote. They built floats, wore costumes, and were led by activist Inez Milholland riding a white horse. From December 1st, 1955 through December 20th, 1956, there was a Montgomery bus boycott. This began when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white man. She was thrown in jail. 4 days later, the black community organized by a boycott of the bus system that would last for 381 days, considered by many to be the start of the civil rights movement. This boycott convinced the U.S. Supreme Court to order the integration of the bus system nationwide. As a nation, we've protested for civil rights, abortion rights, LGBTQIA+ rights, and against wars, and police brutality, and book bans. We've historically used our numbers to let others know that they are not alone in their dissatisfaction over the injustices we see in society. On the night of Saturday, March 8th, 2025, ICE agents arrested and detained Mahmoud Kahlil, a U.S. citizen with proper green cards, was targeted by immigration. This was over his involvement as a spokesperson for a pro-Palestine group that was protesting the Israeli-Palestinian war. The agents weren't even sure what they were specifically there to do besides arrest Kahlil, according to his lawyer at least. A spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security, Tricia McLaughlin, confirmed Kahlil's arrest in a statement Sunday, describing it as being in support of the president's executive orders prohibiting anti-Semitism. This is the first publicly known deportation effort under Trump's promised crackdown on students who joined protests against the war in Gaza. This swept college campuses last spring. The administration has claimed participants forfeited their rights to remain in the country by supporting Hamas. This person is a legal U.S. citizen exercising his promised First Amendment rights. He has been silenced in an effort to silence us all. Don't let anyone silence you. Please like and subscribe for more content like this. Ring the bell for updates.